Welcome to Good Vibes TV. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here to help you raise your vibration so you can thrive. My guest today is SueZee Finley. She is a sound therapist, a happiness mindset coach, and is a two-time international best-selling author. She's the owner of Acoustic Therapeutix, her private practice where she does sound therapy and also hosts sound therapy and happiness retreats. SueZee is the creator and host of a weekly podcast called Happiness and Sound Therapy, which happens on the Win-Win Women Network, where she interviews experts in sound therapy and frequency medicine. SueZee believes we have the innate ability to heal ourselves and create the life we want. We just need to add a little bit more music and laughter. So coming to us from New York, please welcome SueZee Finley. SueZee, so good to see you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Leslie, for having me. I'm really excited.
So SueZee, you are a sound therapist. Now, I know you had a healing journey that got you into sound therapy, and you actually used sound therapy to cure yourself. But please tell us about that journey and what it was like.
Okay, the sound therapy part I got into by accident, but before I got into sound therapy, I had lupus and Sjogren's. I was a healer for over 20 years, not a healer, a caregiver. I was taking care of my mom and my dad and my brother-in-law, and it was a very long path with hospice and all this other stuff. And by the time I got through with all that, my adrenals were shot, my immune system was shot, and I ended up with 2 autoimmune diseases, lupus and Sjogren's. And it took me years, I guess, to get all the inflammation under control so I could walk again and act like a normal person. And it was through diet that I got rid of, sugar and gluten and all this stuff, but started to heal. But I never got my energy back. And the doctor said, well, you're lucky to be walking, you're doing good. It's a lupus thing, you're never going to have energy. And I kind of almost gave up. I resigned myself to the fact that life was going to be 3 hours of energy a day, and that's it. I couldn't work. I couldn't have a regular job because no one's going to hire you if you only have 3 hours of energy. And also there were days I couldn't even get out of bed. All of a sudden, things would hit. I'd have a week where I just had to stay in bed, and it was not the life that I wanted. So I was always, even though the doctors kept telling me, this is it, I still had in the back of my head, there's got to be more. And I was always going to health conventions. And I was at this one particular convention, that's upstate in New Paltz, New York. And I was starting to have one of these lupus attacks where it would just all of a sudden come on you, where you just felt so exhausted. You felt like the Energizer Bunny, and he had just ripped your batteries out. And you're like, ah. And I felt like I was going to pass out. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I'm looking around, and there was one guy in the back that had a table because there were no chairs around. Like, where am I going to sit? I feel like I'm going to faint. I'm like, you know what? I don't care what that guy is doing back there. I got to make it over to that table. I have to lay down. And what I didn't know then, he was a sound therapist. And he had this little computer there, and he had a table. And he said, he goes, sit down. He goes, I'm going to take a reading of the frequencies, and I get that through your voice. Your voice is the composite of all the frequencies in your body. So when I listen to your voice, I can find out where you're low. And then you're going to lay on the table, and I'm going to play them back to you. And I wasn't even paying attention. Okay, I just want to get on this table. So I talked into the microphone, got up on the table, and I fell into this amazing rest for 20 minutes. And when I got up, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I did before I'd been sick. I didn't have any fatigue. I was like, oh my God, I feel like a normal person. I have energy. I felt like I could get up and dance around the whole convention. And I felt relaxed. I'd also been very stressed because my mom had passed away. And I still had, a lot of stuff I was dealing with. But I was at peace. So I told the guy, I need to know everything there is about this. And he told me, and it was hysterical because up until that point, I didn't have any goals that I felt like I could reach. I felt like my life was over. I was never going to have a career. There's nothing I can do. And that day, literally, as soon as I popped up off that table, I'm like, and he told me that it was sound therapy. I'm like, I want to be a sound therapist. I bought all the equipment. I bought the computer. I bought everything. I sold off a life insurance policy to buy all this stuff. And then I enrolled in sound therapy school, and I found out all this amazing stuff. And the more I got into it, every day, it just gave me this new lease on life because every day was exciting. I felt like a kid learning all this new stuff because I got into color therapy and working with tuning forks and working with drums, and then learning to use your voice and humming. And I was like a kid in a candy store. And I credit sound therapy with like saving my life, enriching my life, giving me a career, and also bringing amazing people into myself. Because the other thing I tell people, when you get into the right frequency, the right people come to you. You become, you attract what you're a vibrational match for. And I just started meeting the most amazing people and teachers, and it's been this amazing adventure. And I just keep telling everybody, get your frequency right, because when you get your frequency right, you can manifest stuff too. So I fell into manifestation after this too. So much cool stuff. And as you can tell, I can't shut up about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how long did you have the lupus before you got treatment, and how long has it been that you've been cured of it?
I'm going to say, it's probably about 5 years that I'm feeling really, really good. And I really struggled. I mean, I had a year that was really brutal. And then like 3 years of back and forth, I had good days and bad days, but it was very inconsistent. And it was very difficult because people would see me like all energized and happy. And then they say, hey, can you go out and do this? And I'm like, no, I'm not feeling good. And then people look at you like, oh, she's just lying. She doesn't want to come out. But they didn't understand how you could be really healthy and then all of a sudden crash. And it was this fear that you never knew when that was going to happen. You were hoping it wouldn't happen, if you're on vacation or something important to you, you never knew when it was going to hit. And I don't have that anymore. The fear's gone, the energy's back. So it's a much better life.
When did you start with the Happiness Hive podcast?
That actually, this is funny too. It came about by accident. I was doing a class on stress relief. And I'm very bad. Like, I always have my cell phone off because I keep telling you I don't like the frequencies from the phone. But I had to use it for a timer. And I was teaching people my favorite humming technique. And it's where, I think I showed you this too, where you plug off your ears and then you cover your eyes and you hum. So I said, okay, I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to do this like 3 minutes. And I had a whole group with me. And I set the timer, but I never hit start. So we're humming. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, geez, so like a long 3 minutes. And it's funny because I'm looking at other people on the screen and they're all going like this, like, when is she going to stop? And we're humming and humming and humming. And then I realized, like, oh, maybe I didn't hit start. And I look, and I think like 10 minutes had passed and we were all humming. And when you hum that long, you get giddy. Like, it just lifts your spirits. And everybody was giggling. We all looked high. Like, if you saw us thinking, wow, they must have been smoking something. We were all like, hee, we're giggling. So the next day in my email, I kept getting all these little bumblebees, and then they would call me the queen bee of happiness. And I really like this whole bee theme and how it really does make you happy when you're using sound. So I named it SueZee's Happiness Hive because everyone was calling me the queen bee of happiness. And I'm like, I like that. And then I started a podcast, and I feel like it all ties in. And it's really funny because I always talk about manifestation. And after this happened, I have there's like a little book bin by the park. You know, when they make those like little mini libraries, looks like a birdhouse on a stick, right? But it's got a little books in it. And I call it my magic book bin because every time I go there, there's something that I need to learn. And I go there and there's a book by Marcy Shimoff called Happy for No Reason. And it was happiness habits. And I'm like, wow, I really love this woman. And she was in the movie The Secret. So I read this book and think I would love to study with her. And it turns out she has a certification program for being a happiness trainer. It's like, I would love to sign up for that. But a couple of months went by and her program was filled. And then like maybe 5 months after that, I got a little note to join her program. And then I joined, absolutely loved it. And now like I'm a certified happiness trainer too. So I combined everything, the sound therapy with the happiness habits, and then it became SueZee's Happiness Hive.
Which is your podcast. Now, then you also started doing a manifestation improv group. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so everything is really funny because one thing kind of led into the other, right? So I did the music, the sound therapy, because that upped my vibration. And then once I was in this up vibration, all the right people started coming into my life. And then I realized, oh, wow, I'm manifesting things because you learn that you attract what you are a vibrational match for. So I'm thinking, this would be really fun because I have a lot of people that are really kind of like stuck and down in the dumps, which was one of the reasons I wanted to do this. Because when I was a caregiver, I didn't have a place to go. You know, I was with my mom 24/7. She had dementia. I couldn't leave the house. And it's very hard to feel happy under those circumstances because I didn't have anybody that I could communicate with. I couldn't leave. And I'm thinking, gee, it would be nice to have something where people can kind of have an escape and get into a world where they can just pretend that they're already living the life that they want, because that's part of the way you manifest, is to get into that vibration. So I started doing group calls. We're like, okay, I call it Manifestation Improv, where we get together, and you can put up the background where you say you want to be. Like, say I want to be in Hawaii, so I'll have a background, and I'm like, hey Christy, I'm in Hawaii, how you doing? And she'll have a background of a jet, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fly over in my jet, and we just start these ridiculous conversations. And no matter what's going on in your life, this is just like a mental escape, right? But we have a blast. So you're like, we're flying all over the place. We're meeting, we're going to go to London. We're going to go to Hawaii. We have our books coming out. All the books are #1 bestsellers. And you just get into this vibration. Now you can go as ridiculous as you want, because it doesn't have to be exactly perfect to manifest. But you getting into that high vibration automatically brings you better things. So you can just be as silly as you want. And I'm actually making it into a card game. And that's coming out very soon. So I'm really excited about it. And it's part of my app. I'm actually doing a Happiness Hive app. And you can actually get the cards on the app.
Oh, how wonderful. So that's the Manifestation Improv Facebook group. So if people go to your website, they can join?
They have to join the Happiness Hive first. And that's going to be, it's going to be linked to the Happiness Hive. It's easy for me to get them through the Happiness Hive group. It's going to be like a smaller group from that.
Okay.
Because I have to put out the invitations in there.
Okay. Wow. So you went from lupus to becoming a sound therapist and healing yourself, to then creating a podcast about happiness, and then to doing a group that's all about manifestation using high vibrations. So how wonderful is that? And now you have a card deck coming out. That's wonderful.
I'm excited.
Well, SueZee, we're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the frequency test I did with you to find out what the results were. So we'll be back right after this.
Sounds cool.
And welcome back to Good Vibes TV. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here today with SueZee Finley. She is a sound therapist. Her company is Acoustic Therapeutix. And SueZee, it's been great getting to know you and how you came about becoming a sound therapist. And one of your big tools is this voice frequency test that I was able to take with you before we recorded. And now you're going to give me the results of that frequency test, this voice frequency test. So tell us a little bit about what this test is all about.
Okay. What I love about this test, it was developed by a naturopathic doctor, and she was getting very frustrated by her clients because they would give her wrong information about how they were doing. Like, she would ask them if they had stress. They'd be like, no, I'm fine. Do you have any stomach issues? No, I'm fine. So she wasn't getting a real reading from them. And what this test does, it tests the energy in all your different organs. So if she's seeing that they have low energy in their stomach, she knows to test them for digestion. So she could figure out how to treat them medically by seeing where the energy was low. So that's what I did on you today. And I'm going to tell you which organs are low in energy. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say, you need to do this. But what it does for me, it's the basis. And I can say, oh, your energy is low here. You may need to do this. You may need to do that. So I'm going to start with you. And for you, your notes were D and E. So D is kidney energy. So it just shows that, you have low kidney energy, and that could be as simple as you need to drink more water, or in Chinese medicine, they say that the kidneys are fear. So it could be that maybe you're fearful of something, maybe through like meditation or something, you can resolve that. But it gives you a baseline. And this is what is so helpful, because the biggest part of getting through any type of sickness or illness is knowing where to start. We don't know where that baseline is. So this gives you a baseline of where the problem may be stemming from. And your other note was E, which correlates to like the thymus gland and the spleen. So usually for thymus, I'm going to say your energy, your immune system might be low. And you know this too, because you do vibration. Thumping that thymus gland helps and brings that, and that'll help get up. But always, like I said, always good to go and get checked by your doctor if you're feeling anything different. And the other note was G sharp, and that showed that you had too much energy. So when you have too much energy in an organ, that means it could be inflamed. So that was showing too much energy in your gallbladder and digestive issues. So if you have anything like that, and you might think, oh, because I was just working with someone, they said, I was having some pain there. Maybe I should go and get tested. And that confirmed, oh, yes, I want to go and get that tested now. So it's a great way to find out what might be medically going on wrong with you. But also, it's working with frequencies. Frequencies are like nutrients. So simply by changing the music you listen to, or adding some singing into your like daily routine, like you'd be singing in the shower. We all like to sing in the shower because it's safe and nobody can hear us. So singing, humming, all these things can change your vibration and actually bring energy to those organs naturally and keep you from going into any type of disease or chronic issue. So this particular test is what saved my life with lupus. It guided me through so many things and gave me the energy to get back to healing. So I like to tell everybody this is like a great place to start, because you can just use your own voice. You have everything you need is with you for sound therapy. You can hum, you can sing, and just by getting into coherent frequency, you can heal. And it also will help if you have a naturopathic doctor that has some questions, show them the test and say, hey, maybe we can check out this, and this. Because naturopathic doctors like this stuff. Regular doctors, not so much. But you can do a lot, and frequencies are nutrients, and it does a lot besides the music too. So I'm offering, because I really love this and I want to help people with this, a free test to anybody that's interested. I'll give you music in your note, and all I ask is that you just tell me how you felt after listening to that music. And then if you wanted to continue further, I can tell you about the colors and the gemstones and the nutrients and foods that all vibrate in your needed frequency.
So you'll send me a music in a file, an audio of the music that I can play that'll help get those notes more harmonized.
Right. I'm going to send you 2 MP3s that you can download. You can listen to it on a headset. And what's actually good, if you have like a little cheap headset, I've had people do this. If they have like shoulder pain or something, they actually will split the mics and put it on their body, and the frequency goes right in through the headset. Because in my office, I have like a sound table and I have all these different things. I can get the frequency right into them. But you can do it yourself with, a headset. You can just put it on different spots. And you can also do it with tuning forks. And there's another tool. You can actually get an app on your phone. N-Track Tuner. It's called N-Track Tuner. So say like your note. Let me see if I can pull that up. If your note is D, you can actually sing into the app till you see it hit the D note. And then you just hold it on there. And you just like hold that note. And you actually tuning yourself with your own voice.
So if I wanted to tune myself, my low notes were D and E. So I would be toning those notes to harmonize myself.
Right. So you would literally like sing into the phone. Now I tell everybody, because the other thing is I don't like the frequency that you get off your phone. Okay. Wi-Fi is not good for you. So I tell everybody, if you're working with the phone, I like to put it in airplane mode. And I don't like to use the app on the phone. You can actually, for like $10 on Amazon, buy a little tuner that you can sing into without using the app. But you could try it on here first. I just don't like having the phone like right in my face like that. So you can, do it on the app, but I would recommend getting.
So basically, you're just toning to a certain note, just
right.
Like on a guitar, they have the little forget what they call tuning things.
Yep.
And when you hit the right note, then it shows you that it's in tune. So
Right.
it's the same
You would
kind
like
of thing.
literally be singing until you see that note. And it's kind of fun because if you're not a singer and you don't know what you're doing, it took me forever to like play around to get my note. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And you would see it. And then when you realize how you got your voice there, you would just keep singing that note and you literally harmonize yourself. And one of the things they found out, a lot of times the reason people are deficient in their notes, in those particular notes, because they're not saying them. They're not, it's like not in their vocabulary for some reason. Like when they're singing, they don't hit that. When they're talking, they don't hit that. So they have to train themselves to do that. And another reason they actually found that if people grew up like saying they had a mother or a father or like a sibling that yelled at them all the time and they couldn't stand hearing their voice, they would literally tune out that tone and they become like tone deaf to that and their body would no longer absorb that vibration. So sometimes you have to get these lost frequencies back in your body.
Wow.
And
Very interesting.
Yeah, I sound therapy. It's when I fell into this, it's like, oh my God, it's like so exciting. There's something new that I'm discovering every day. And it's been out. There were teachers like Dr. Jonathan Goldman and Dr. John Bouillot. They've been doing this for like 50 years. And it was like really weird because 50 years ago, people thought they were nuts. And I'm like, it's boggling my mind that it took them 50 years for people to start listening. Right. You know? And right. It's been around.
And the shamans, use voice and sound and rattles to heal people using sound to work their energy. So yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, thousands of years they've been doing it, and we're just catching on now.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, SueZee, tell me this. So I guess you tone your note. What is your particular note?
Okay, so mine, it did change a little bit. It was always C and G. You do kind of stay in the same range. You just get better at it. So it's always like those two that I have to work on. So mine is C and G, and I love humming. That's my big go-to, because when you're humming, it puts your body in complete like coherence. It creates nitric oxide because you're humming through the nose, and that relaxes your blood vessels. It lowers your blood pressure. And it just lifts your spirits. And you can't be in a bad mood when you're humming. Have you ever seen anyone humming in a bad mood? Usually people are like, yeah, you don't see it. So humming is like my go-to. I start every morning. I do humming. I love tuning forks, and I even hum with the tuning forks. And Dr. John Bouillot, he's the one that actually came up with the whole idea of tuning yourself with tuning forks. And I was in his class. He's like, they're great because you can carry them around in your pocket. They're always with you. But he goes, the purpose of the tuning fork is just to teach you to hum in your own note. So you can be like holding them up and you can match that tone. And then eventually he goes, you don't even need the tuning forks because your body just knows how to go there. And you can even imagine it too. If you don't want to like have your tuning forks on, like say you're someplace and you don't have them, you can just imagine the sound and that still creates a vibration in your body.
Wow.
It's really amazing.
Right. So you use humming to tone yourself, to harmonize yourself. What other things do you do to raise your vibration?
Drumming. I love drumming. No matter how bad your mood is, everything could be falling down on top of you. Right? You get your little drum out and you can drum it all the way. It just like flips you out of that state because you just get into a beat. And when you can get into a drum circle and be with a bunch of people. And the fun thing is, like, I have no musical talent at all. This is another thing I love about being a sound therapist. My friends are joking with me like, you're a sound therapist? Really? Because I never had rhythm. I always said I can't sing. But it's not about being musically inclined. It's just about making sound that's healing to you. And when I first got into this, I spent a fortune. I bought all this electronic equipment. I bought a sound table, all these different like speakers and frequency generators. I spent like $40,000. And the teacher came out, I'll never forget this, in like one of the first classes I had with her. She goes, of all the tools in your sound healing toolbox, your voice is the most important. I'm like, what? Couldn't someone have told me that like $30,000 or $40,000 ago? And it really is true. You can do so much with your voice and natural things like, drums and dancing, and all these things flip you out of any type of mood that you're having, because the mood is just your energy. It's the emotion, like, energy and motion. And you can just flip that by putting the rhythm in that you want.
SueZee, it's time for a break. So when we come back, we'll find out how people can work with you and get their own voice frequency test.
Sounds good.
And welcome back to Good Vibes TV. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here today with SueZee Finley. She is a sound therapist, and we've been having so much fun. Now, SueZee, what's the best way that people can reach you?
Okay, the easiest thing I want to say is the website, because you can get right on my mailing list and then send me a little note. Hey, let me know what's going on. Because besides doing the sound therapy, I created a podcast called the Happiness Hive. And I bring other sound therapists on so you can get to learn from the best of them, because I've had amazing teachers that have been doing this for 50 years, and I want them on, to talk to you. And I have a show coming up on the Win-Win Women Network where you can actually come on live and ask questions. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So I want you on the mailing list. So make sure you sign that mailing list, and I can let you know of all these upcoming things. And if you sign that mailing list, I want to give everybody a free voice frequency test, because it's very important for me. Like, I want everybody to know their note, and to know that if you're not feeling good, you can just listen to some music and snap out of it. So I'd love to give you your note, and this way some songs that go with it. And if you do this every day, you're going to be in perfect harmony, and it's a lot of fun. So I'd love to offer that to you as a gift, and love you to check out the website and join me on the Happiness Hive.
Well, SueZee, do you have any final thoughts for our viewers before we end our show?
I love to tell everybody to have, I call it my happy playlist, to design your life like you were the person doing the musical score for a movie. So whatever type of life, or even just like the day ahead that you want, plan it out with music. So if say, you have you're going to do an intense workout the next day, right? You're going to get the soundtrack from the, Rocky movies, right? And you're going to play that. But if the next day you want to be in a creative mood, you want to plan a list with all, classical music songs and things you can work to, because your mood for that day is going to be reflected by the music and the frequencies around you. So the easiest way to be in the correct frequency is to literally pick them, and you can do it really simple on your phone. So pick out the songs you want, and listening to them is going to put you in that great frequency to have the day that you want. So that's my number one tip.
Love it. Well, thank you, SueZee, so much for joining us today and for your frequency test. It's been wonderful getting to know you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
And thank you, Good Vibes TV viewers, for watching. If you got some value from the show, please like, share, and subscribe so everyone can have access to this information. Remember to raise your vibe so you can thrive. Peace out, everyone.